a new face that I've chosen, an uncapped player, but a player who had used to play under the new Malaysia under-23 coach Nafuzi Zain, Azfar Fikri. He has been quite on form of late, and he's among the leaders when it comes to assists in the Malaysian Super League. Currently joins second on 5 assists alongside Arif Aiman. Peter Cklamovski has touched down in Malaysia on the 24th of January this year and has already begun work in earnest as the new Harimau Malaya manager. And Managerial takes a look at what Malaysian football fans can expect from the Australian head coach, and what is the squad, what is his first squad likely to comprise of. So when we talk about Peter Cklamovski, we associate him mostly with his links with Tottenham manager Ange Postecoglou, who is also now regarded as one of the finest coaches Australia has ever produced. And in this regard, the Australian of Macedonian descent is already coming close to, you can say, somewhere matching his mentor's record. And for the new Malaysia coach, he has been associated with the now Spurs head coach from their days at Melbourne Victory, the A-League, where he was a fitness coach, following previous stints at Adelaide United and Perth Glory in the same role in the A-League men's competition. And from there, both of them continue to work together, where with Cklamovski being promoted to an assistant coach under Postecoglou in the Australian national team, where he was the backroom staff that helped the Socceroos achieve a creditable performance in the 2014 World Cup in Brazil and lift the 2015 Asian Cup finals on home soil. Following that, he moved with his mentor to Japan, where he will embark on a 6-year stay with various clubs after his first stint, again also as assistant at the Yokohama F Marinos. Following a dismal first solo managerial stint at Shimizu Espals, despite him barely keeping the club up in Japanese top flight in the, you can say, in the 2020 season. Then he went to J2 side Montevideo Yamagata, where he went on an unbeaten run of 11 matches with 10 wins and 1 draw, where he helped a club that was on the verge of a relegation battle at 17th place to eventually record a 7th place finish at the end of the 2021 campaign. In the next J2 campaign in 2022, Cklamovski nearly brought Yamagata to the J1 top flight. However, they lost in the second round of playoffs by virtue of a lower league placing, where they finished 6th compared to their 4th place opponents at the second stage of the promotion playoffs. And ultimately, following the successful 2022 campaign, the sale of many of the players who were integral to a campaign led him to endure a very difficult start in the 2023 season in the Japanese second tier, where he was eventually sacked. But where fortunes go, the reputation that he has built up with Montevideo Yamagata has caught the attention of J1 side FC Tokyo, who roped him in the middle of the season that same year. After guiding the club to 11th place that season, 2024 saw Cklamovski lead FC Tokyo to a respectable 7th place finish in the J1 season last year, and that ability to improve teams from where they started on a struggling position eventually caught the eye of the Harimau Malaya project owner Tunku Ismail Ibrahim, and he was eventually appointed as the new head coach on the 1st of January 2025. And having gone through a brief history of his managerial career, we now delve further into what Malaysian football fans can expect from Cklamovski in terms of how he's going to likely set up his teams based on his precedents that he had with FC Tokyo and Montego Yamagata. Like his mentor NJ, Cklamovski is an advocate of hard work. That means the players had to run hard and had to run smart throughout the 90 minutes they were on the pitch. And he combines it with a high intensity game, which is quite similar to that of his mentor. And what you can see is he's likely to adapt either maybe a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3 approach with the teams that he has set up, although he has on occasion at FC Tokyo diverged from that preferred formation to play 4-4-2 at times. And he has a knack of liking to have the ball, get forward into the final third, where actually if you look at from what I've read from the tactical analysis website, where many of the FC Tokyo goals last season were mainly scored inside or just outside the 18-yard box. So he advocates a quick transition from the back to the front, and also when you create opportunities inside that final third, particularly inside or near on the edge of the area. And there's also plenty of reliance on wing play, which is actually very good news for Malaysia, because based on the current squad or even from precedents from the past squads that we had under Kim Panggon and for a brief period under Palmati, you will have wingers who are able to do this job in abundance, where you have Arif Aiman, the JDT darling, you have ex-JDT players who are now thriving in Terengganu, the duo of Safawi Rashid and Akia Rashid, and Shafiq Ahmad of Kedah. With these four wingers, he's guaranteed a good disposal of quality wingers who are able to fit seamlessly into his game plan, whereas I'm going to add further, you can say that reliance, Cklamovski's intention or approach when it comes to going into attack, the reliance will be a lot more on the wings to push forward. And that's where these four players I mentioned will provide not just the width but also their technical ability, the dribbling, their ability to get past the players on one-on-ones, and to provide the incisive pass or assist towards a goal inside the box. I think these are qualities that are essential, and I do expect these four players, when they are on form, when they are fit, to contribute significantly to Cklamovski plans when it comes to attacking from the wings. Then what about the other aspects of play that we can expect from Cklamovski? That will be his desire for quick transition from defense to attack. And what I've mentioned about from his time in FC Tokyo, he has worked on this particularly a lot, where he was trying to get the defense to transition quickly once they regain possession, if it's from the back, to move quickly to the front. And that will be actually one of the biggest tasks facing Cklamovski, because and that will also be the biggest challenge actually Cklamovski will be working on. That would be what you can say the signature core of what he wants to do with Harimau Malaya. And I think you can say he will complement this not just with quick transitioning and hard running, but also high intense pressing, which where he favors a high intensity approach in order to force turnovers, especially in the final third where you can force your opponents to make mistakes or to rush through their passes in order to scramble away from the onrushing presses. And that is a style that overall he prefers, although that pressing part of the game is not a new thing, where we have previously seen Malaysia play this particular pressing game under Kim Panggon. So in this regard, you can say that for Malaysia, you're going to have a rather brand new style of play, where intensity, high work ethic, playing through the wings, and also you can say that high pressing approach. These are going to be the essential four components of how he's going to set up the Malaysia national squad. And one of the traits that Cklamovski likes to do as what we have mentioned or what we have seen from his time in Japan, particularly with Montego Yamagata and FC Tokyo, is his desire to improve the tactical and individual aspect of the teams wherever he has coached so far. And this is something that he will also likely touch upon when he takes charge, convenes his first national squad ahead of the Asian Cup final round qualifying next month. And what we are going to expect actually will be a focus on improvement, a focus on the quickness and the tactical understanding of the game from what he has witnessed under his mentor NJ, and also what he has seen in the Japanese football in the top two divisions during his time working solo as the main man in the hot seat. And what we are going to look at is probably a squad that's going to be relatively young, relatively physical, and they need to have some technique to be able to execute the gameplay he wants, and also the energy, the desire to learn and to push, to stretch themselves, because frankly speaking, Malaysia's biggest challenge in this Asian Cup qualifying will be competing against their group rivals Vietnam for that one spot for the ticket to Saudi Arabia 2027. And all these little things, if worked together seamlessly, could be the biggest edge that Malaysia will get in their bid to reach the second successive Asian Cup finals after they did so under Kim Panggon in 2023. And without further ado, Tanya takes a prediction on the 26 players who are likely to compromise his first Harimau Malaya squad when he names them in the foreseeable future. And I begin with the goalkeepers. I mean, it's going to be a massive, drastic change from the ASEAN Championship squad, which partially was caused by, you can say, player withdrawals, player unavailability, and the conflict of league scheduling with the regional competition during that period. But this time it's going to be under a proper full FIFA window, and there are no excuses on Harimau Malaya not getting its strongest team available. And with the 26 players I named, I will also particularly point out one or two particular omissions that I'm predicting. And this excludes the possible new heritage players that may join the Malaysian national team by the time after this video is produced. So without further ado, I begin with the goalkeepers. And for the goalkeepers, actually, it's going to be the usual suspects, the three of them. Shihan Hazmi of Johor Darul Takzim, Azri Ghani of Kuala Lumpur City, and Haziq Nazali for Perak. And actually why I mentioned Haziq in particular was because in Haziq you have a mentally tough goalkeeper. Yes, he's prone to the odd, highly calamitous encounter as what happened against Thailand in the ASEAN Championship group stage. But his ability to stay resolute and stay mentally strong has earned him the merit to be among the three goalkeepers called up, apart from the usual two. And by the way, Shihan has currently the best clean sheet record in the Malaysian Super League Granted, it's with Johor, but it's quite impressive when you have 11 clean sheets in 15, probably 15, or even if he has played all 15 so far. Now I move on to the defenders. Some of the defenders who were involved in the ASEAN Championship are retained, while those JDT players make a return. And they are, outside of JDT first, Declan Lambert of Kuala Lumpur City, Daniel Ting of Sabah, Dominic Tan also from Sabah, Diong Khoo's Buriram United. I mean, Diong Khoo's returning is going to be very important, because while the goalkeepers are relatively competent, particularly with Shihan and Haziq, the question mark is neither of them are as dominant or as a character like Khairul Fahmi Chemat. But that was in the past. They are solid goalkeepers, the two of them, but you need a leader who is able to pull the entire defense together. And you can tell the difference when Malaysia were without Diong Khoo's during the ASEAN Championship. They look strangely vulnerable. They look at times hesitant despite the experience of Dominic and Daniel and Declan Lambert at the back. And of course with Jimmy Raymond of Kuching City. Unfortunately, Jimmy Raymond is not inside my Tayaja's provisional 26-man squad because of the returning JDT players, who are Sharusat, Matthew Davis, Feroz Baharudin, and Lavera Corbin Ong. And among those defenders I mentioned, I mean, where I have talked before about the need for good wing play. That's where I think the industry of Daniel Ting, Matthew Davis, and Corbin Ong will come in very vital. I mean, this is not about age, but the industry and the pace they provide will be instrumental into Cklamovski's plan of building a team that is able to build a quick transition and play along the wings. Now, moving on, the midfielders. Well, this one is slightly more diverse, and I have omitted two who would have been usual suspects in this case. One of them perhaps a little more controversial than the other. Well, the names I mentioned, I'm picking for midfields are Stuart Bilking of Sabah, Shamir Kuti Abah of Penang, Ezekiel Aguero of Pahang, Paulo Jose and Ryan Lambert from KL City, Noah Line of Selangor, and Afiq Faisal for Johor Darul Takzim, and a new face that I've chosen, an uncapped player, but a player who had used to play under the new Malaysia under-23 coach Nafuzi Zain, Azfar Fikri. He has been quite on form of late, and he's among the leaders when it comes to assists in the Malaysian Super League. Currently joins second on 5 assists alongside Arif Aiman, who is included in the squad, but I'm placing him among the forwards. But beforehand, I'm going to touch on the two who are not selected. Brendan Gunn and Natxo Insa. Both of them admittedly are on the wrong side of the 30s, and I think for Natxo's case, approaching 40. And the latter has already mentioned that this is probably his last season in professional football. For Brendan Gunn, the case is currently he's still recovering from his injury, so he will not be available. So probably age is a factor, and I think age is also really a factor. But Brendan will be like Matthew Davis, Corbin Ong, and they will be familiar with the Australian system, the Australian demands of hard work, of high work ethic required, the hard running, the dedication needed. Because if you're not dedicated enough, if you cannot run hard enough, you are unlikely to survive in a Cklamovski squad for Malaysia. But for Brendan's case, it's really about both injury and age, so I'm leaving him out. Natxo Insa, he has been a starter for Johor in the AFC Champions League elite games, and also I think has played an integral role in Johor's continued dominance in the Malaysian Super League this season. But why am I not selecting him? Something about Natxo Isa's game is going to be hugely at odds with what Cklamovski expects. Natxo is a guy who likes to set a tempo from deep in midfield, where he likes to dictate the passing or control and recycle possession. While it helps where Cklamovski also does prefer a good level of possession, or rather his mentor rather. But Cklamovski likes a quick transitioning team and a player who likes to work and run together as a collective. And where in terms of the style of play and the physical aspect of it, you can say that unfortunately Natxo doesn't fully fit the bill. Quality wise, he still has it, and the thing is, one of the reasons why Natxo has been doing so well with JDT in the ACL is because of the foreigners and the foreign-born players that he's surrounded with, who are able to understand and execute his plan and pass play. Can the other players, local players, do the same? And unfortunately, it has proven not so much. So therefore, I'm sorry, Natxo, but I highly doubt you'll be able to fit in that seamlessly. Although I do hope to be proven wrong, but age is also not on his side either. Although that will fly smack when it comes to why do I still pick Paulo Jose, who is 36, 37 years old and still playing very actively for KLCT. I think it's the activeness and the willingness to approach and adapt to different varying styles. This is where Paulo Jose has an edge over Natxo. Now, finally, the forwards. The forwards actually no surprises. You are good, as I mentioned, the four wingers, the four wing wonders: Safawi Rashid, Arif Aiman, Akia Rashid, and Shafiq Ahmad. And to complement them are your three centre forwards: Darren Locke of Sabah, Romel Moraes of JDT, and Fergus Tierney, who from Nakhon Pathom of Thailand. Fergus Tierney has a very high work rate. He will be the most effective guy when it comes to the high pressing play that Cklamovski demands. And I do believe when it comes to a new national team being convened on that day, I don't be surprised if Fergus Tierney becomes the starting centre forward because of that high work rate, the high pressing that he is able to adapt and blend with. And with that, I think I wrap up on how I see Malaysia going under Peter Cklamovski and the predicted first Cklamovski squad for Malaysia. And before I go, I would like to wish all the Chinese viewers who are watching this video, Gong Hei Fat Choi, and I hope all the other races have enjoyed their holidays over the past week.